boys and girls. Good morning. Yesterday, when I was reading this book, I said Happy Wednesday, but today is Wednesday. Yesterday was Tuesday, so Happy Wednesday. My days are all off. Okay, here's your chapter for today. It's chapter 4, and it's called Loneliness. Aww. The next day was rainy and dark. Rain fell on the roof of the barn and dripped steadily from the eaves. Rain fell in the backyard and rain in the drains. Rain splattered against Mr. Zuckerman's kitchen window and came gushing out the downspouts. Rain fell on the backs of the sheep as they grazed in the meadow. When the sheep was tired of standing in the rain, they walked slowly to the lane and to the fold. Rain upset Wilbur's plans. Wilbur had planned to go out that day and dig a hole in the yard. He had other plans too. His plans for the day went something like this. Breakfast at 6:30, skim milk, crusts, pieces of donuts, wheat cakes, drops with maple syrup, potato skins, leftover custard pudding with raisins, and bits of shredded wheat. Breakfast would be finished at 7. From 7 to 8, Wilbur planned to have a talk with Templeton, a rat that lived under the trot. Talking with Templeton was not the most interesting occupation in the world, but it was better than nothing. From 8 to 9, he planned to take a nap outside in the sun. From 9 to 11, he planned to dig a hole or a trench and possibly find something good to eat buried in the dirt. Excuse me. From 11 to 12, he planned to stand still and watch the flies on the boards, watch the bees in the clover, and watch swallows in the air. From 12 to lunchtime, he would eat middlings, warm water, apples, meat gravy, carrot scrappings, and a wrapper off a package of cheese. Then lunch would be over at 1. From 1 to 2, he planned to sleep again. From 2 to 3, he planned to scratch itchy places by rubbing against the fence. From 3 to 4, he planned to stand perfectly still and think about what it was like to be alive and to wait for Fern. At 4, that would be supper. Skim milk, leftover sandwich from Levery's lunchbox, and fried potatoes, drippings, more of that, a piece of apple pie, and a scrap from the upside-down cake. Wilbur had gone to sleep thinking about these plans. He woke up at 6 and saw the rain. It seemed as though he couldn't bear it. I'd get everything all beautifully planned out, and then the rain, he said. I kind of feel like that sometimes when it rains, huh? For a while, he stood gloomily indoors. Then he walked to the door and looked out. Drops of rain struck on his face. His yard was cold and wet. His trot had an inch of rainwater in it. Templeton was nowhere to be seen. "Are you out there, Templeton?" called Wilbur. There was no answer. Suddenly, Wilbur felt lonely and friendless. One day, just like another, he groaned, "I'm very young. I have no real friends here in the barn. It's going to rain all morning and all afternoon, and Fern won't come in such bad weather. Oh, honestly," and Wilbur was crying again for the second time in 2 days. At 6:30, Wilbur heard the banging of the pail. Levy was standing outside in the rain, stirring up his breakfast. "Come on, pig," said Levy. Wilbur did not budge. Levy dumped his slops in the pail and walked away. He noticed that something was wrong with the pig. Wilbur didn't want food. He wanted love. He wanted a friend, someone who would play with him. He mentioned this to the goose, who was sitting quietly in the corner. "Will you come play with me?" he asked. Sorry, said the goose. "I'm sitting on my eggs, 8 of them. Gotta keep them toasty warm. I have to stay right here. I have to. I do not play when the eggs are going to hatch. I'm expecting goslings." "Well, I don't think you were expecting woodpeckers," said Wilbur bitterly. Wilbur tried one of the lambs. "Will you please play with me?" he asked. "Certainly not," said the lamb. "In the first place, I cannot get into your pen, and I'm not old enough to jump over the fence. In the second place, I am not interested in pigs. pigs mean less than nothing to me." "What do you mean less than nothing?" replied Wilbur. "I don't think there is such thing as less than nothing. Nothing is absolutely the limit of nothingness. It's the lowest you can go. It's the end of the line. How could something be less than nothing? If there were something that was less than nothing, then nothing would be nothing. It would be something, even though it's just a little bit of something. But if nothing is nothing, then nothing has nothing and the less of it." "Oh, be quiet," said the lamb. "Go play with yourself." "I don't play with pigs." Sadly, Wilbur lay down and listened to the rain. Soon he saw a rat climbing down. "Will you play with me, Templeton?" asked Wilbur. "Play," said Templeton, twirling his whiskers. "Play? I hardly know the meaning of the word." "Well," said Wilbur, "it means to have fun, to frolic, to run, to skip, and make merry." "I never do those things if I can avoid them," replied the rat. "I prefer to spend my time eating and gnawing and spying and hiding. I'm a glutton, but not a merry maker. Right now I'm on my way to the trot to eat your breakfast, since you haven't ate it." And Templeton the rat crept steadily along the wall and disappeared into the private tunnel where he dug between the door and the trot in Wilbur's yard. Templeton was a crafty rat, and he had things pretty much his own way. His tunnel was an example of his skill. The tunnel enabled him to get from the barn to his hiding place under the pig trot without coming out in the open. He had tunnels and runways all over Mr. Zuckerman's farm and could get from one place to another without being seen. Usually he slept during the daytime and was aboard at night. Wilbur watched him disappear into the tunnel. In the moment, he saw the rat's sharp nose poke out underneath. Cautiously, Templeton pulled himself over the edge of the trot. This was almost more than Wilbur could stand. He knew Templeton was getting soaked out there in the rain, but even that didn't comfort him. Friendless, rejected, and hungry, he threw himself in the manure and sobbed. Later that day, Lurvy went to Mr. Zuckerman. "I think there's something wrong with that pig of yours. He hasn't touched his food. Give him 2 spoonfuls of sulfur and a little molasses," said Mr. Zuckerman. Wilbur couldn't believe what was happening to him when Lurvy caught him and forced the medicine down his throat. This was certainly the worst day of his life. He didn't know whether he could endure this awful loneliness anymore. Poor pig. I'll show you the picture. It's pretty sad. Darkness settled over everything. Soon there were only shadows and noises of sheep chewing on their cuds, and occasionally a rattle of a cow chain up overhead. You can imagine Wilbur's surprise when out of the darkness came a small little voice. "Do you want a friend, Wilbur?" it said. "I'll be your friend. I've watched you all day, and I like you." "But I can't see you," said Wilbur. "Where are you? And who are you?" "I'm right up here," said the voice. "Go to sleep. You'll see me in the morning." There's Wilbur. He looks so sad and lonely. I wonder who this new friend could be. You'll have to wait until tomorrow to see who it is. But I'm glad that made Wilbur a little bit happy. I know you guys may feel alone and a little bit lonely right now, but I'm always here. Have a great Wednesday, and I'll see you tomorrow for Chapter 5. Bye.